Hello everyone, my name is Yo and this is Postcards from Japan. Post 34 and we have actual postcards now, so that's pretty good. So 9 months ago today I started attending high school in Japan and I've genuinely not have had this much fun in quite a long time. For my first day I only had to go in the afternoon, but I had to give a self-introduction in Japanese and answer some questions. And it's fair to say that my Japanese at the time was not up to the point where I could properly do all of those things, but somehow I survived. The first thing that really struck me was how outspoken and fun all of the students were. Not the typical image you have in your head about Japanese high school being all strict and studying and no talking or anything. Over the first week I tried to copy down everything in all of the subjects I had, even if I didn't even understand the characters which were on the board, and I did my best to participate in lessons, which wasn't as difficult as the Japanese high schools aren't really interactive at all. It's the teacher gives a lecture and all the students sit quietly and copy it down, so nobody really notices if you do follow along or not. For the first week I tried really hard. Most Japanese high school students have electronic dictionaries, so I got to borrow one and check all of the words I didn't know and do my best, even though I didn't really understand much of it, but I tried really, really hard. But after a week or so, a week and a half, I decided that simply copying everything, even if you don't understand it, might not be the best course of actions, and I sort of shifted to using the AFS textbooks that we are given by AFS to study Japanese on my own, to try to get my skill to the point where I can understand lessons, and I started studying really hard and taking lots of notes on my own during lessons, and I think that really helped me a lot. Most exchange students I've known don't take all lessons. We have quite a broad range of lessons, from English and math to things like calligraphy and classical Japanese. The lattermost something I still do not understand the slightest. What one probably knows about Japanese high school is club activities, which you see in media quite often. Most students join clubs and there's quite a wide variety of them. Things from sports clubs, tennis, soccer, baseball, all kinds of sports, to things like brass band or Japanese culture clubs like Sado or Kado, which are tea ceremony and flower arranging, or Shodo, which is calligraphy, and a few others like that. The club I actually joined at the beginning because my Japanese wasn't so good, and most of the friends I've made were in the club was English Debating Club, which, if you follow me on social media, you've probably seen tons of pictures of, because that's where I spent a lot of my time. Japanese clubs are really quite intensive, and most of them, especially sports clubs, meet 7 times a week. So even on the weekends you go to club. Mine was 9 to 4 on weekends, and you practice quite intensively. So on normal school days I'd get home at around 7 or 8 in the afternoon, which was quite demanding for the first few weeks. Club activities are really fun, but I'm probably gonna put those into the next blog post or the next video chat if I ever decide to do one of these again. But yeah, English Debate Club, which I quit about 2 months ago after we went to internationals, since somehow our club managed to win nationals, which was quite exhausting, but I guess that's a tale for another story. A story for another time. My English has gotten so bad. Yeah, currently I'm in the calligraphy club, and I'm pretty sure I'll write a post about that later as well. Some of my favourite memories at school are the big school events we've had. Actually, starting from the first day I went to school, my class was practicing for the school chorus competition, which was in Japanese, and singing in Japanese is not the best thing I could have been doing at my first day, but somehow I survived, and it was quite a lot of fun practicing with my class. Some of the classes were really competitive. We've had other huge events as well, which I think I've covered previously before, but I'll touch upon a bit. Things like the sports day, which our school calls class match, where all the classes form teams in a variety of sports. We've had table tennis, soccer, and quite basketball, and quite a lot of others, in which there's a ranking, and although our class didn't make it that far, it was quite a lot of fun. or the marathon day where the entire school ran, somewhat 30 kilometers or so, which was pretty intense. It was quite a hot summer's day. It's quite strange seeing about 1,000 people in our school all running the same stretch with the entire streets blocked off. It was quite surprising, but these things actually happen a lot where the entire school does something. We went to the theatre with the entire school and did quite a few things where everybody went. Just a few weeks ago we went to the class excursion where we went to a different prefecture by buses, and there were 10 or so buses all leaving at the same time, which was quite an interesting sight. Another thing my class did was English camp, since we had an English grade. So we went to Takata, which is a famous place here in Nagano, and studied English for 2 days at like a fun little excursion camp. And these kinds of events were one of the most fun things I've done at school, and I really treasure the memories I've made here. Something that only just struck me recently about Japanese high school is the learning curve I've had from coming here for the first time and not understanding anything to about 1 or 2 months later starting to fully understand almost all subjects. English was the easiest, although the teacher speaks Japanese most of the time. You could sort of get what he was talking about by understanding the grammar points, so you actually reverse learning the language, which is quite useful. Austria is actually ahead in most subjects, in math and in the science subject especially, so I understood the subject, but by understanding the subject I was learning Japanese at the same time. So after 3 or 4 months I could mostly understand all of the subjects I've had here. Actually, only about a month and a half ago I started understanding Gendaibun, which is Japanese literature, which is quite a difficult subject even for Japanese people, but I started understanding what the teacher was saying, which brought me quite a lot of joy. I was quite happy about that. There's still subjects like classical Japanese, like I mentioned earlier, which I do not understand, but I spent that time studying on my own and hoping to improve my language skills there. And I'm going to wrap it up there, I think. Just a little quick update for the 9-month mark. I talk about Japanese high schools and about all of the events we've had and all the things we've done and the experiences I've made. At the 10-month mark, which is the last full month I'll be at a Japanese high school. Actually, the last day here will be the club festival, which is a huge 3-day event that our school is holding with all the different clubs having stalls and lots of people coming, and it'll be really exciting, and I'm sure I'll write about that at a later date. Sorry if I keep looking down all the time. I have my laptop here and I've taken notes because I'm a prepared person. Doesn't show at all, but I try my best. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.